never stood half a chance.
What's up, my fellow Remnant 2 gamers? Welcome back to the channel. It's D Werewolf Gaming back with another Remnant 2 video. Alright guys, I hope everyone is doing well and have been staying safe. With that being said, I also hope each and every one of you had an amazing Thanksgiving as well. Alright guys, so today I got two powerful builds to showcase, guys. As you've seen in the gameplay, these builds can really dish out amazing damage and take these bosses out pretty quick, pretty fast. But one flaw, as you've seen there with the explosion build, guys, is the fact that you will keep getting knocked down. So that's one thing you got to take into factor. But overall, guys, with this setup and the prisms I'm using, you will be able to survive even when you get knocked down. Majority of the time, as long as those lits are not from those one-shot bosses. With that being said, guys, I want to give a big thank you to everyone that continues to support me on my channel, especially those who always have something positive to say, guys. I really appreciate it. Alright guys, so as you see in the gameplay, I did fight Bruin, Blade of the King twice, but primarily, guys, some of the fights I was doing in this particular gameplay, I was fighting in the trials and also just fighting in the overworld. But each time I fought Bruin, as you've seen in the gameplay. The first time I fought him using the skewer mod setup, double mod setup, and this time I'm fighting him using the explosion Starkiller setup. So with that being said, one of the builds though I am showcasing is from a previous video, but overall the build is just so fun, guys. I needed to showcase it again, and just to showcase how powerful that build is. So we will go with both of the builds, guys, mainly focusing on the Starkiller build, but I will briefly touch bases on the previous build that I showcased in the last video. All right, if you're new to the channel, you like the content, please feel free to hit the like, share, and subscribe. It does not cost a thing. All right, for the build, guys, Archon is the prime, Ritualist is the secondary, and I did go with the Chaos Gate as a skill, guys, but you know, the Archon is mainly focusing on generating mod power, and so that's why I wanted to keep it as the prime to be able to get those mods back pretty fast. With the Chaos Gate, guys, you just stand within that aura, you get up to 35% increase in all damage, but keep in mind you will take 15% in all damage as well whenever you get up to those 50 stacks. Also, you having any stacks generate mod power as well, up to 10%. All right, for the Ritualist skill, guys, I did use the Death Wish, and this negates all healing to self, and it also self-inflicts 22.5 damage per second, but it increases all damage by 50% and grants 10% of base damage as life steal. So you're going to get a lot of life steal back whenever you use that skill. So it's just great right now. All right, for your armor, whichever armor you prefer, guys, it didn't really matter. This was the setup I enjoy wearing right now, guys, so I can keep that medium dodge. All right, for the relic, I did use the Tranquil Heart relic for the passive health regen of 2 per second. And whenever you take the relic, it doubles that health regeneration for 15 seconds. All right, and also, guys, another amazing relic that worked great with this build as well is the Profane Heart. It has an innate 3% base lifesteal, and on use, it increases lifesteal efficacy by 50% for 15 seconds. All right, so guys, one thing I do want to point out, though, I prefer the Tranquil Heart because the Death Wish automatically gives you that lifesteal of 10%. So really, the Tranquil Heart was giving you the passive health regen, and you was going to be getting lifesteal, especially whenever you did use the Death Wish skill. So that's one reason why I chose the Tranquil Heart relic, but it didn't really matter. You can use whichever one you prefer. All right, for the Starkiller, the main star of the show, guys, this gun is amazing. Basically, it fires a highly compressed spear, which creates a large gravity well that on contact, it pulls all enemies in for 3 seconds. Whenever those enemies are pulled in, guys, eventually it will explode. It deals 6,570 damage to enemies within 10 meters and adds 4,380 damage per additional enemy and divides that total damage among all enemies. I did use the fail-safe mutator, guys, to deal 25% additional mod damage and has a 15% chance to not consume the charge. All right, as usual, guys, I don't really use melee weapons a lot, so I did just have the Spectral Blade equipped, and I did have it paired with the Shocker Mutator. All right, the Starshot gun, guys, this gun can dish out amazing damage, but basically you funnels all current mod charges into the next shot. Projectiles deal 530.4 direct damage and 569.4 explosive damage per charge consumed in a 5-meter radius, and explosion applies 756 burning damage over 20 seconds per charge consumed. So that's just amazing. I did use the feedback mutator, guys, to generate 20% on a single charge value as passive mod power over 10 seconds and generate 15% of base damage dealt as mod power as well. That way you can keep those mods up and going at all time. All right, for the rings, guys, I did use the Shard Bandit ring. This increases mod damage by 12%. I did use the Burden of the Stylist, guys. This reduces ammo reserve by 20%, but increases mod and skill damage by 15%. You're not going to be worrying about ammo, guys, so that ring worked great. All right, and I did use the Burden of the Gambler. This disables weak spot, but increases critical chance by 10% and critical damage by 15%. And I did use the Burden of the Destroyer. This decreases all idea range by 35, but you could increase in all damage by 15%. All right, guys, and if you wanted more explosive damage on this build, you could have easily just went with the Blasting Cap ring. This increases the explosive damage by 15%. But overall, as you've seen in the video, guys, using the other ring, the Shard Bandit ring, worked pretty great in this build as well. All right, and the reaction chain. Basically, this increases mod damage by 20%. Activating the mod generates 50% of mod power spent to the stored weapons mod. So this is just great, guys. That's one reason why you want to continue to keep swapping. All right, Flash Caster came automatically. Affliction came automatically with the Ritualist. They have 10 points in kinship, guys. That way, whenever you won't damage yourself when you get blown up, basically. All right, because you will be getting taking a lot of explosive damage with this build, guys. But keep in mind, you will be protected pretty well and have good survivability because all the life steal you got, and some health regen as well. Because you will be using the Tranquil Heart relic, which passively regenerates health with triage, which improves that healing. All right, I got 10 points in fortify. They have right at 5 points in potency, guys, decrease the duration of your consumables. They have 4 points in swiftness, so it can move faster. 10 points in vigor to increase max health by 30. 10 points in spirit, generate 20% mod power. 10 points in siphoner. This grants 3% base damage dealt as life steal, so that's even more life steal, guys. So this, like I said, this build has a lot of survivability. You got 3% life steal there. You got Tranquil Heart, giving you passive health regen. And you got Triage, which increases healing by 50%. On top of that, you got the 10 points in Siphoner and also 10% life steal that is coming from the Death Wish skill as well. So like I said, you got a lot of life steal, a lot of passive health regen. So overall, this is a great build for surviving. You got 10 points in Bark Skin, 10 points in Insight to generate those 10 mod power per second, and 1 point in Endurance. All right, for the tonics, I did use the Mud Tooth tonic to increase max health by 20. And this remains in effect even after you go, even if you die. And I did use the meat shake, which that was basically the concoction that was given to me whenever I did use the snake oil concoction. Now, whenever you use the mud tooth snake oil, basically grants one random concoction. Guys, you don't have any choice in what it gives you, but it's just a free concoction that you can use. So I always recommend you take it. All right, so let's take a look at my fragment, guys. This fragment is, like I said, you see, guys, it's set up. It is great for you can go status effect or even elemental or even explosive on this build, guys. So as you see, I had explosive, mod crit chance, mod damage, explosive damage. Status effect, I did have wizard, which increases mod and skill crit chance. I did have mage, which increases mod damage and mod generation. Tank, guys, that reduces the damage reduction and gives you bonus armor. And as you see, guys, the legendary perk was Jack of all trades, which increases all damage dealt by 40%. Like I said, so you can easily go with explosive with this build or even do status effect build. Ultimately is whatever choice you want, guys. Like I said, this is a very flexible prism that I set up here, and I really enjoy using this one. All right, guys, let me do a little demonstration of how much damage you can get up to using this particular setup. It is really fun to use, and so let's take a look at my stats. As you can see, guys, I had all damage right there up to 140%, critical damage 65%, 117% mod damage with 15% skill damage, critical chance 10%, 25% mod crit chance, and skill crit chance 7.5. So overall, this is a very powerful build, guys. Easily take down those bosses on Apocalypse or even in the trials. Very fun to use, and I recommend anyone that hasn't tried this build to definitely give it a try. All right, guys, here's my previous build that I showed in the last video. The previous setup when I was using the Corrupted Savior, basically with the sure shot pistol. And as you can see, guys, the setup was very simple, very similar, except I did use the Summoner, guys, primarily for that Dominator perk, guys, which grants 35% increase in all skill, mod skill, and explosive damage, and 5% mod skill and explosive crit chance. A lot didn't change in this build. You will see when I let you look at the traits and everything. But the fragment was a little different, and with the prism, we will go over that. As you see, that everything I did use the same, and I did use the probability quarter in this particular setup here. But the traits, the main thing that did change in your traits, guys, is that I did, instead of having the kinship, I do have amplitude, which increases AoE and aura size. All right, so as you see, everything else, and now on this particular setup, I am using the Profane Heart Relic to get that life steal back, but everything else mainly stayed the same. And also in this particular setup here, I did have 3 points in footwork as well. All right, and here's a quick glance at the prism. Now this prism was a little bit different because the legendary perk was the power trip, which doubles mod charges. And on it I have critical damage, mod crit chance, and mod damage with range damage with longevity, guys, to increase mod duration, skill duration. Had mage, which increases mod damage and mod power generation. Did have tank on this one as well. And I did have gunfight on this one, guys. That increases fire rate and reload speed. So overall, this was these two builds, prisms that setups that I got are very powerful, guys. Very fun to use. And overall, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you for your valuable time as always. The Werewolf out.